the two men of faith who earned the kingdom of heaven. Baldwin, the Leper King of Jerusalem, suffered to such an extent that he had to hide his face behind a mask. He had no sensation in his right arm, but learned to ride a horse with only his knees. When he heard of Saladin's invasion, he marched to intercept him with only a few men and took Saladin by surprise. Baldwin raised the relic of the true cross in front of his troops. He dropped to his knees and begged God for victory, and victory it was. The 16-year-old Leper King defeated the great Saladin, who barely escaped capture fleeing on a camel. However, it was not over for Saladin, and his time came after Baldwin had died. He defeated the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin and conquered Jerusalem. A great massacre of the Christians was expected to take revenge for what they did to the Muslims 100 years ago, but Saladin the Wise granted amnesty to all. He famously said to his men, "I warn you against shedding blood, for blood never sleeps." Baldwin IV, the Leper King of Jerusalem, was a man who defied the odds. Born into royalty but cursed with leprosy, Baldwin's body was ravaged by a disease that would have crushed lesser men. His face was so disfigured that he had to hide it behind a mask, and his right arm was numb and useless. Yet Baldwin refused to be defined by his affliction. With sheer determination, he mastered the art of horseback riding, guiding his steed with only his knees, his spirit unbroken by the disease that ate away at his flesh. When news arrived that Saladin, the formidable Sultan of Egypt and Syria, was marching toward Jerusalem, Baldwin's response was nothing short of heroic. With a mere handful of loyal knights, he set out to confront an army that vastly outnumbered his own. The odds were stacked against him, but Baldwin's faith was his armor. He carried with him the most sacred relic in Christendom, the true cross, a symbol of divine power. As the two armies faced off, Baldwin raised the relic high, a beacon of hope for his men. In a moment of profound humility and desperation, he fell to his knees and begged God for victory. And victory was granted. Against all expectations, Baldwin's forces overwhelmed Saladin's troops. The Sultan himself barely escaped capture, fleeing on a camel, a stark contrast to the mighty horse he rode into battle. But Baldwin's triumph was bittersweet. His leprosy continued to ravage his body, and he died at the young age of 24, leaving behind a kingdom in peril. Saladin, who had tasted defeat at Baldwin's hands, would soon return with a vengeance. In 1187, he crushed the Crusader forces at the Battle of Hattin and laid siege to Jerusalem. The fall of Jerusalem was a moment of profound significance, a city sacred to both Christians and Muslims. The Crusaders feared the worst, a massacre to avenge the atrocities committed by the First Crusade a century earlier. But Saladin, known as Saladin the Wise, showed the world the power of mercy. Instead of unleashing a wave of bloodshed, he offered amnesty to the city's Christian inhabitants. His words, spoken to his soldiers, echoed through history. "I warn you against shedding blood, for blood never sleeps." Saladin's clemency was a testament to his faith, a reflection of a deeper understanding of the cycle of violence. While Baldwin fought with the fierce belief that his cause was righteous, Saladin showed that true strength lies not only in victory, but in mercy.